So in yesterday's lecture, we have seen some concepts related to vector. So what is a scalar? What is a vector? Then what is vector addition? What is vector subtraction? If you are going to multiply a vector by a scalar, it is nothing but scaling. Then if instead of multiplying with a positive value, if you are going to do it with some divide, means if, instead of suppose multiplying it by 7 or 8, if you're going to divide it like 1 by 7, then it will be a reduction. That will happen with that vector quantity. And vector addition is commutative, vector subtraction is not commutative, that we have seen. In today's lecture, we are going to see some more things regarding vectors. We have also seen that how to draw a 3D point using x and y axis and the z axis, and how it is going to move. So have you all tried drawing that 3D point, and is it clear to you? Hope so you said something, but I am not able to get it what you said. So is there any doubt in drawing that 3D point?
No, ma'am, it is clear.
See the next concept, and these concepts are very easy, but for sure short this concept will be asked in your exam. So either it will be part of a short note. As direct short note can't be asked on the small points, so a question can be there like explain the following terms from vector, and then 1 2 3 4. Then we can ask the question like explain the following terms, and the first one position vector, unit vector, Cartesian vector. So in this way the questions can be asked. First we are going to see a position vector. Very simple concept. What is mean by position vector? Yesterday we have seen that how to draw a vector. So if suppose these are your axes, okay, right now I'm only focusing on a 2D axis so that it will be 2D vector. uh, if you want we can focus on 3D also, but imagine the same thing for 3D. If suppose I am drawing a vector from the origin, okay, this is your origin 0 0, that is 0 0. So if I am drawing some vector from the origin, so the tail, this is the tail of your vector. So if the tail of the vector is at the origin, and head can be anywhere, it can be in the first quadrant, or it can be in the second quadrant or third quadrant, or it can be in the fourth quadrant. Head can be anywhere, but if the tail is fixed to origin, then that vector is called as position vector. Simple definition. So take any vector and fix its tail to the origin. Take its head anywhere. You can take it in any quadrant. So rotate it anywhere, no issue with it, but fix its tail to the origin. And if such vector is there, then it is called as position vector. In yesterday's lecture, we have seen that how to calculate the magnitude of any vector. It was very simple that you know that if vector is there, then it is going to have 2 points. Suppose this is your P1 and this is your P2. It's going to have some coordinates like X and Y. Whenever you want to calculate the magnitude of it, it's nothing but if it is a 2D vector, then it will be the difference between your x coordinate and difference between your y coordinate. Take its square, add it and take its square root, and you will get the magnitude of this vector, which is represented by the points P1 and P2. Now when you say we are going to see something regarding position vector. When you say position vector, the P point, P1 point is always 0 0 0 because tail is fixed to 0. So it is very simple. How it is very simple? Because here you are taking the difference between x and y, and here no difference is there. Directly it is nothing but this P2 point. So it is like x2 and y2 and z2. If you are considering the 3D coordinate, then it is this, because x1, y1 and z1 always will be 0. So always x1, y1 will be and z1 will be 0. So it is nothing but if 3D vector is there, then it will be x2 square I am writing right now x2, but later on we will shift it to x. So it is x2 square plus y2 square plus z2 square. Suppose these are your x and y axis. If you want to imagine a z axis is also there, it's okay. Suppose there is any vector. This is a 3D vector. Let me take some other color so that the vector will be clear to you. Okay. So if suppose this is your vector, here its tail is fixed and it is 0, 0, 0. This is P1, this is P2. In yesterday's case, it was like x1, y1, z1, and P2 point was x2, y2, z2. And it's going to have some coordinates. So here in this case, though I am writing it, it is not correct. Just for the example, I am writing it. This vector direction and the positions are totally wrong. But if it is 4, pi, 6, how to calculate the magnitude of any vector? The magnitude can be calculated by taking delta x square plus delta y square plus delta z square. So here the delta is nothing but the difference between two. Difference between what? X2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square plus z2 minus z1 square. Now this is nothing but what? Here we are going to drop now the values. What is the value of x2 for this vector? What is the value of x2?
4.
Very good. So 4 is the value. Now what is the value of x1?
0.
0.
Very good. It is 0. Huh? Then y2 value?
5.
5.
Y1 value?
0.
0.
0.
Z2 value?
6.
6.
And Z1 value?
0.
0.
Good. Very good. So it is nothing but always it has been observed that when you take any position vector x1, y1 and z1 always will be 0. x1, y1 and z1. So it is nothing but in short you are writing like x2 square because the term gone na, and z2 square. So that is nothing but from our this case it is nothing but under root of 4 square because 4 minus 0 is 4 plus 5 minus 0 is 5 plus 6 minus 0 is 6. So here you can observe it is nothing but under root of x2 square plus y2 square plus z2 square. When you say unit vector I want to draw, then there are in case of 3D vector there are 3 possible unit vectors. Unit vector along x-axis, unit vector along y-axis and unit vector along z-axis. So here one example is shown. So this is your x, y and z. So whenever we draw any unit vector along x-axis, then its value is 1 and the rest of the values are 0, 0. Okay, so it is like 1, 0, 0 is the unit vector along x-axis. And how it is represented? The symbol for it is I. Then if you want to draw j, j is nothing but the unit vector along y-axis. So x is 0, z is 0 and y is 1. Similarly, z no j, k, it's k. So I, j and k. Now we will see k. K is the unit vector along z axis. So x is 0, y is 0 and z. So this is a unit vector along a particular axis, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. And it is represented as I, j and k. If you want to graphically represent unit vector along x, y and Z. Let me take another color. So here, this is your I, this is your J, and this is your K. Exactly of one magnitude, one unit. फिर क्या करेंगे हम, इसका यूनिट वेक्टर हम कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. कैसे कर सकते हैं, दैट वी आर गोइंग टू सी इन दिस एग्जाम्पल. सो ये जो पेज है वो एक्सप्लेन करता है प्रोसेस, हाउ यू कैन कैलकुलेट द वैल्यू ऑफ एनी यूनिट वेक्टर फ्रॉम इट्स एक्चुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशन. सो इट इज नथिंग बट, अगर आपको पता है कि वेक्टर आर है, if you know that r is a position vector, so it is nothing but x2 square, y2 square, z2 square. Now we are fixing it that here the example is shown for the position vector. Otherwise you can consider any other vector and then fit it to origin and then calculate it. It's called translating it, translating that vector and then calculate its magnitude. So अगर अभी के लिए हम एक पोजीशन वेक्टर इमेजिन करते हो जिसका हम मैग्नीट्यूड कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, वी नो हाउ टू कैलकुलेट इट्स मैग्नीट्यूड. सिंपली आपको क्या करना है, दिस मैग्नीट्यूड इज नथिंग बट मॉड्यूलस ऑफ आर. सिंपली आपको ये मल्टीप्लाई करना है विथ इट्स एक्स, वाई एंड जेड वैल्यू. सो एक्स एक्सिस की वैल्यू, वाई एक्सिस की वैल्यू और जेड एक्सिस की वैल्यू से आपको उसको मल्टीप्लाई करना है. कैसे, 1 by the magnitude of that vector you are going to multiply with its x value, same with the y value and same with the z value, and whatever new values you will get, those values are called as normalized value. Those values represent the unit vector for that corresponding vector. ना एक एग्जाम्पल हम कंसिडर करते हैं जिससे आपको ये सब चीजें क्लियर हो जाएंगी. नाउ सी हियर, हियर आर इज द वेक्टर जिसकी एक्स एक्सिस की वैल्यू है 1, वाई की है 2 एंड जेड एक्सिस की वैल्यू है 3. Now what we are trying to do, this is a normal vector, so as here 1 2 3 is given, it means that it's a position vector because इसका मतलब उसके पास उसके x1 y1 z1 है ही नहीं, सिर्फ उसके पास x2 y2 z2 ही है. Then we know it's a position vector. We know how to calculate its magnitude. How to calculate, it's nothing but x square plus y square plus z square. Now all of you tell me, what is the value of x here?
1,
R value, y value,
1, 2,
z value.
3,
Very good. Here, like 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square, that is nothing but 14 square. Right now we are not calculating directly what is the value of 14, means under root 14. Then how we are going to do? The formula says, what formula says, 1 divided by mod of r, nothing but the magnitude of r, multiply it with its x, y and z value. So it is nothing but, here what we are doing actually, it is 1 by under root of 14. अगर किसी को ये नहीं समझा तो पूछो. हाँ, 2 divided by under root of 14 and I am here writing it 3 divided by under root of 14. कैसे दिख रहा है बंदा. So it is 1 divided by under root of 14, 2 divided by under root of 14 and 3 divided by under root of 14, and that value is 1 divided by under root of 14 is 0.267, 2 divided by under root of 14 is 0.535 and 3 divided by under root of 14 is 0.802. See, I will show you the value of root of 14. So here, under root of 14, I think I should be like this. So what is the value of under root of 14? It is 3.741. Okay. I am assuming someone of you please write it down, na? Because later on I am going to require it. I am not able to operate simultaneously in the PowerPoint presentation and I am not going to work it over here. So 1 that is under root of 14 is nothing but 3.741. We will take this much value, 3.741. Now 1 divided by, now under root of 14. Oh, it's taking 14. I said under root of 14. Wait. 1 divided by under root of, oh, it's taking the value of 1. Under root of, oh, wait. What I will do, I will directly write down that under root of 14. So it is nothing but 3.1 divided by 3.774 and 1. So see here, the value is 0.267. And match this value with your PowerPoint presentation value. See here, 0.267. Now how we are going to calculate the second value? It is nothing but 2 divided by under root of 14. So when you want to do 2 divided by under root of 14, it is 2 divided by, we know the value of under root of 14, it is 3.74 and 1. So it is 0.5346 is there, 46 is there, and here we are approximating it. So it is 35. Now the third value, that is 3 divided by under root of 14. So it is 3 divided by, we know the value of under root of 14, it is 3.74 and 1. And the value is 0. Now 19 is there, and we are taking it till 3 precision digits. So we are approximating it and making it 0.802. Now we are moving to the next point. So here you can observe the unit vectors are also known as Cartesian vectors. Okay. So I, J and K. René Descartes, who has designed this system of Cartesian coordinate system, he referred to this as unit vectors, as Cartesian vectors also. So both are same. So what we can do with this Cartesian coordinate system? Actually, you can take the combination of this unit vector and you can say that along x-axis how much direction should I move for I, J and K. For x-axis I, tell me for y-axis J value, and for z-axis K value. So it is like for the first time when we have normalized the position vector, we are moving from the actual vector to a normalized or unit vector. And how this Cartesian vectors will help? This Cartesian vector will help us to take this unit vector to that position vector, the reverse order of it. So it's nothing but it is going to require I, J and K, that is the unit vector along x, y and z axis. So it's the reverse process. So let me draw it. So the unit vector concept is, if this was your normal position vector, we have fixed it and we have generated this unit vector. And with the help of Cartesian vector, we are once again redrawing the actual position vector. Okay. Now we will see one example of it, very simple example. So this is your Cartesian vector, so which you have seen from the childhood, nothing but AI plus BJ plus CK. And what is this A, B, C? These are the constants along your x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So all these are constants along x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So unit says it has to be 1, 1, 1. But Cartesian says if it is not unit, then it has to be something different value. So it can be any point value, or it can be in terms of the thousands value, hundreds value, it's okay. Whatever value is there, take it like A, B, C. How to calculate the magnitude? It is one and the same. That is nothing but A square plus B square plus C square. So everywhere you will find that whenever we want to do some kind of calculation, everything we are first fixing it to origin. Bring it to origin and then calculate. So it is very easy to calculate at origin because half of the work is done. No need of the second coordinate or second point is required. So that's why it becomes very easy if you calculate something by bringing it to origin. It will reduce your calculation part. Now we will see that same like your normal vectors where you can perform the addition and subtraction. Now for Cartesian vectors also you can perform the addition and subtraction. And how you can do it? So simply, if this is your R vector, Cartesian vector, how you are going to write it? AI plus BJ plus CK. Second Cartesian vector, S DI plus EJ plus FK. If someone asks you to calculate R plus S, means add these two vectors, you are simply going to add the magnitude part of it. So keep the vector part as it is and calculate only the manipulation on magnitude. That is A, B, C, D, E, F. Focus only on it. So when you say R plus S, then add A plus D, which are the magnitudes of I. Then next is B plus E, which are the magnitudes along J. And last one is C plus F, which are the magnitudes along Z. So this is for addition. And if someone asks you to calculate the subtraction of it, simple thing. A minus D for I, B minus E for J, and C minus F, K. This is the Cartesian addition, Cartesian vectors addition and subtraction, commonly represented by this formula. Well, now you all write down this example, very simple example, and then once you are done with the writing part, let me know that yes ma'am, done. This is R plus S. R plus S means what? Add I magnitude, J magnitude and K magnitude. So here I magnitude is 2 and 5. So it is 7. Then next is 3 and 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. Next is 4, 7. 4 plus 7 is 11. So you got the resultant addition of two Cartesian vector as 7i plus 9j plus 11k. This is your resultant vector. Imagine it like suppose this was the vector. Actually it will not look like this. Actually it is coming in your direction. It is going to have some thickness because of that z axis. Now it is going to have some thickness and it will come in your direction. So you can, instead of imagine it like a flat vector, you can imagine it like a cylinder vector which is coming in your direction or going from away from you. So R plus S is there, and if someone asks you calculate the magnitude of resultant Cartesian vector. Now resultant Cartesian vector is this R plus S, and how to calculate its magnitude? It is very simple. Take the square root of it and x square plus y square plus z square. So here x is 7, y is 9 and z is 11. So x square, 7 square, 9 square and 11 square. Add all of them, you will get 251. If you want, I can show you now as the calculator is there itself. So we will calculate the under root of 251. 0 under root of 251. Brackets under root. So you can see here it is 15.84. The next part is 29. So 2, that's why we are not going to round it off to 85. We will keep it like 84 only because of that 2. So this was regarding the Cartesian vector addition. And similarly, you can go for the subtraction. Okay. Even if it is coming out to be negative, it's okay. It means that might be it is going away from the x-axis. So it will be in the negative x-axis. Now we are going to see scalar product, which you also know and known as dot product. We will see its proof and we are going to prove something. We know this concept that R into S means R dot S, which is also known as dot product or the scalar product. As the name suggests, scalar product. If someone asks you why R dot S is called as scalar product, you can explain with the help of this proof. Because With the help of the Cartesian coordinate system, we are going to get some values in terms of this A, B, C, D and E, F. And its simple addition is there. So you are going to get all the magnitudes, all magnitudes. So it can be R dot S can be 16, 20 or 15.14 or 16.3. If the magnitude is there of any product, we are going to say it like it's a scalar. But if the result of the product is coming out to be vector, like something in terms of I, J and K, if you are in the result getting like 20I or 30J or something like 45K, so it requires the direction also, that it is going in the x-axis direction or y direction or z direction. So like this, if you are representing, then it is nothing but the vector product. Okay, and now we will prove it. Very simple proof. If this is your R, this is R vector, this is S vector, and we are calculating R dot S. Okay, so how to get this R dot S? But obviously, if you want to calculate it, draw a perpendicular. As you see, a perpendicular is drawn, so this becomes the hypotenuse. So magnitude of R is nothing but hypotenuse. If this is the theta, cos theta requires the adjacent side, that is nothing but the magnitude of S. And you are going to get the cos theta angle. So when you say I want to calculate the dot product of R and S, let me use the other color. It is nothing but magnitude of R into magnitude of S into cos theta. Repeat it. I am repeating it again. Magnitude of R into magnitude of S into cos theta is nothing but the R dot S. So if it is graphically clear, let me check it with the help of these values also. Now, as we all know that we can write it like a Cartesian vector. Let me take a blank page and then I will show you the whole proof. So let me take a blank page. Okay. And this is the last proof which we are going to see. Oh, no, we have some time. It's 11:55, na? Till 11:55 we can get the time. So let me draw it fastly. Oh, I can draw it fastly. So R is AI plus BJ plus CK. S is ABCD, E and F. So it is EJ and FK. Now, what I want to do, R dot S. So it is simply nothing but take this into this. So it is AI plus BJ. If you simultaneously write it, then it will be very easy for you. Otherwise, I am explaining. You can simply go through it. Now this is nothing but AI into this whole term, BI once again into the whole term, and CK into the whole term. So it will be like, should I directly write it? Will you get confused if I write three terms? Should I go?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then here it is AI DI plus AI EJ, and next term will be AI FK. Plus keep it as it is. Now next is BJ DI plus BJ EJ plus BJ FK. Now last CK DI plus CK EJ plus CK FK. Some common terms you know, formula I into I, J into J, and k into k is what? Do you know it?
1.
Very good. It is 1. So you can observe from this term, only these 3 terms are going to remain. Let me take the other color. So only these terms where I, J, J and K, K is there is going to remain. What will happen to the rest of the terms? I into J is 0. How it is 0? Use the same dot product formula. Okay, let me first write only these terms. It is AD. Now, okay, I will write it. I into I. This is I into I. Then next is BE, J into J. And the last one is CF, K into K. And all these I into I, J into J and K into K is 1. So you will get it like AD plus BE plus CF. Now you will ask me how I into J is equal to 0. Now, should I rub some part? I am rubbing it because I have to show you the formula which you already know of dot product. And what that formula says? Formula says I into J is nothing but mod of I into mod of J into cos theta. Cos theta, I is X, Y is J. Then what is the angle between I and J? X और Y एक्सिस में एंगल क्या होता है?
90.
Very good. And what is cos 90?
0.
0.
So this is 0. What is the magnitude of I? Unit vector I.
1.
Magnitude of J.
1.
So it is 1 into 0. Nothing but 0. So everywhere, whenever you will find IJ or JK or KJ, what you are going to get? 0, 0, 0. So all the remaining terms, these remaining terms are going to be 0. And you will get only these 3 terms. Hence proved. So both these proofs are there, and with that